original Speed Kills program, I told you that you have to play slow exactly the way you play fast. And I've realized over the years that that's not necessarily true. And I found there's a reason for this, and there's a metaphor that I'm going to give you. When you play medium speed and fast, you have to keep your pick rigid. I have only found one guitar player in all of the years of touring all over the world that is really fast using this technique where you literally bend your index finger and your thumb, and he's not a professional guitar player. Every professional guitar player I have ever seen, when they play fast, regardless of putting your hands on the guitar, using a free-floating mechanism to play, whatever they use, they never move their thumb and their index finger. But when you are playing especially an electric guitar and you're amplified and it's loud and you want to do things that are more nuanced, you have to move your thumb and your index finger. And this is where I found that the change occurred. When I do more nuanced things, I use my thumb and my index finger and I move them for many reasons. One, maybe to do a pinched harmonic. Two, maybe I don't want feedback or to block that string that I don't want to have sounding. And so here's my metaphor. When you're playing medium speed and fast, think of a painter, that you're a painter using a big brush doing broad strokes. But then when you're playing slow using a pick, now you've changed brushes and you're doing detail work. So even though you're painting the same painting, you're still doing a different motion with the brush. And it's the same with guitar. When you play slower, it's more nuanced, and when you're using amplification, you're dealing with feedback, you're dealing with a lot of elements that aren't just sitting in your bedroom going. And so this is what I found out. When you play slow, it's okay to do whatever necessary to make the sound. But once you start getting in that middle ground where it starts to be in between speed, all of a sudden the pick starts to get rigid. And that's what you do. This way, acceptable slow. After that, rigid. The last of the alternate picking exercises is an exercise in string skipping. This is one of my trademark and signature things that I do using alternate picking. And the reason I like it so much is because once you establish that you can play a new string on an upstroke, you don't just have to leave it to the next string. You can start moving from string 1, instead of going to string 2, 1 to 3. 1 to 4, 1 to 5. I've even done riffs where I go 1 to 6, all in alternate picking. And once you get this string skipping pattern down, for example, all of a sudden you sound like you're going all over the place and your alternate picking technique becomes really sharp. And then you can use it to play some even more outside things. You can really use it to do a lot of things. And then you find that when you get string skipping down using alternate picking, not using string skipping becomes much easier and much faster. Now I'm going to show you what I mean. Here we go. String 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6. In the original program, I called this technique alternative picking. And the reason why I did is because back in the old days, it really hadn't been established what you call this technique because it was something kind of new on the scene. And over the years, people have started referring to it, or they started referring to it as economy picking, and that seems to be the name of this technique that stuck. So what I'm going to do is show you economy picking exercises. Now, this is a fantastic technique that is very much different from alternate picking because as you've witnessed in this program, alternate picking is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, relentlessly. Well, economy picking is not that. Economy picking would be the equivalent of taking a string and hitting it 3 times, down, up, down, then you go to a new string and you go in the same direction as the string you just ended with. Down, up, down, down, up, up. And so what I did in the exercise that I wrote for this is so good because in this short exercise, you can really conquer economy picking and really understand and be able to play this technique. So what is this again? Down, up, down, down, up, up. Of course, ending with my shred alternate picking riff, but what economy picking does is it gives you a choice. So now, and it's a little smoother sound, so now you don't have to play. You can make it sound a little smoother. To recap, alternate picking is more of a staccato sound. Staccato means percussive. Versus, so you have economy picking is a smoother sound. So you can really play a lot of the same riffs using economy picking that you could with alternate picking, but now you have a different sound. So you have more colors in the tonal palette to work with. This next exercise is a continuation of economy picking. And I found that economy picking lends itself to some really unique patterns and ways of approaching this technique. This exercise zeroes in on one, and that's this motion. And I found that a lot of times when you play scales, if you start like this, that's where this exercise will really come in handy. And I like the sound of it too. Again, economy picking is a smoother sound, and it's a sound that you'll really find helpful because not every riff needs to be played the same. You have to find which technique is going to be good for whatever riff you're going to use. what is a good angle for your pick, and should it even be angled at all? Now, there is a word in music that I learned. Why? Because I got a degree in music. It doesn't make me a great player. What it does is just gives me some knowledge. And what I found is that when I studied pipe organs, the old Johann Sebastian Bach style pipe organs, there is a word called chiff. And what that is the percussive sound of the air hitting the pipe before the note sounds. Now, how does this apply to guitar? Because you want to angle your pick. I happen to hold my pick like this. I angle it downward. Now, how many degrees? I don't know, 20, 30 degrees, maybe even as much as 45 degrees. But I've found it works equally well when you angle it upward. Is the angle the same ascending and descending? Yes. See, what you don't want to do is hit the strings with the pick being parallel to the string. You're not going to get that chiff or the pick attack, and also you're not going to be able to glide over the strings as easily. So it doesn't matter which angle it is, whether it's down or up, but the pick has to be angled for you to achieve maximum quickness. I really like to use arpeggios when I play, and there's lots of different ways to play them. There's 3 notes per second, and you get 5 notes, and then the list goes on and on. What I also like to do is use economy picking to outline triads and arpeggios, and this next exercise is a great illustration of that. And here's what I do. I start with 1. That's basically like an E minor 7. Then I go, and it's like an A7. That's like a B minor 7. And E minor 7. And when you play it fast, and plus there's some passing tones between that, which means that it's not every single note of the chord. That's E minor 7. That's the passing tone. When you play it fast, it has a really cool sound, and it seems there's a lot of motion going on, and you're really staying fairly close, fret-wise and string-wise. I ended this exercise like this. Now, why did I do that? I could have ended it, the original program, it went, but I thought that this ending is harder, and it's something that you're going to want to get down, and that is, again, moving straight down a scale, straight down strings, like I showed you in alternate picking, now with economy picking. In other words, you have to go. Now, why is that hard?